welcome back to Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I am so grateful that you are taking a moment of your time and sharing it with myself and my guest today. We've got a pretty cool symbiotic guest today. Lots of things have happened before we've even started talking, and one of the things that you're going to learn is that she's also has had the path of real estate that has led her through her life. So we have a lot in common. It's going to be a great conversation. This is where we share stories and insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. Today's episode, just so you know, is brought to you by queenofresilience.shop. That's our online store. We got lots of fun, kitschy stuff in there. Maybe you'll find a great shirt, a little bag. You're going to see some cool journals popping up in there. So do check out queenofresilience.shop. So today's guest is Victoria Rader. She is a Ukraine-born possibility coach and the founder of You Too Shine. I love that. Just so you know, why you, number 2, shine. While homeschooling her 2 children, she became a top 1% real estate agent in the United States during the 2008-9 recession. Seriously, folks. Her journey of coaching others to be successful led to her realization. Work with me here, people. Realization of the importance of the subconscious programming and energy work. She received her PhD in metaphysical studies and mastered various energy modalities. Sorry, folks, I should have worn my glasses today. And combined spiritual practices and practical applications to have been helping her clients and students to live a life of true freedom and fulfillment. She is a 4 times best-selling author with her most recent book, Prosper Me, the 35 Universal Laws to Make Money Work for You, and founder of the Free Me EFT, Quantum Freedom, and creator of Empower Me and Master Me apps. This is going to be cool because I'm thinking she's touching on almost everything that is like a hot topic these days. So before we go there, first, welcome. I'm gonna have one of those boards someday that does all the claps and stuff. My son's gonna help me with that, but until then, we're gonna keep me pretty low tech. So that's the manual clap.
Oh,
So
Kim, thank
welcome.
you. I feel very welcome. I mean, I don't have to go to my own funeral and hear the eulogy anymore. This was pretty
That
great.
you know what? It's my favoriteest thing to do. My children grew up with me reading Bernstein Bears and all the different voices
Oh,
and singing Girl Guide songs and doing I love Dr. Seuss. I love
oh,
Dr. Seuss. That's my favorite book series to read. So getting the opportunity and the pleasure and the honor to read amazing people's bios gets me excited, because
uh,
and folks, just so you know, here at Kim Talks, I find really great guests, but I'm not looking to discover everything about them before we get a chance to discover together. So I am learning right along with you. So I'm going to listen and learn. Victoria, can you share with us a little bit of who you are? Give us a few nuggets that most people don't know.
yeah. Well, I would start with the fact that I'm a pet parent. I love animals. Currently, at my house, I have 3 dogs and a cat. 3 are rescues, and one is the hand-me-down from my son because she outgrew his condominium rules for the size of the dog. So that's why I'm very passionate about everything furry. Love them, heal them, talk to them. So that's just my big passion. My other big passion is tennis. Very few people know about the fact that I am very competitive tennis player. I'm playing in 4 tennis leagues as we speak, and I teach on peace and peaceful resolution and collaboration versus competition in business. So that's an unexpected side. But I think who I truly am and the identity that I remind myself of daily, I just to remind myself that I am a child of God. However, you define that grand overall designer, I try to realign myself with a purpose of divinity to and through me daily. So that's in a nutshell who I am. Somebody who just drums to the eternal divine drum every day.
Uh, the tennis thing, isn't that a really competitive sport? Okay. I know that it's a sport that requires coordination, and I am not a coordinated individual. I can fall off my front porch. I'm telling you.
That's also a talent. That's also a talent.
I actually fell into my peonies this spring, and my peonies, when they grew out, had this big Kim size dent in it.
Ah.
So but I'm an excellent cheerleader. I love to sit on the sidelines and watch people who can just totally crush it. And I'm sure you can crush it. Someday you're going to have to get somebody to film you on the tennis court and make a little snippet as to, one of your facets. So that would be fun to watch. So share with us a little bit. You're like myself. You have so many layers. And folks, we as women are not single faceted. I think sometimes we are the absolute definition of ADHD. We have multiple things always going on because that's how our brains work. We have to create a compartment for our kids and for our work and for our dog and for our friends, and we can mix and match them all the time. But walk me through what you're doing right now, because you've got a couple cool things on the go. But what are you doing?
So, through being successful as defined by kind of an everyday onlooker, what do people define as success? You do what you want and you have money to pay for it. I mean, that's a definition of success in a nutshell, right? So when people define you as successful, they want to know your secret. Everybody wants to know a secret. Just give me that one $29.99, 3 easy payment fixed to life. And
Or magic beans work. Magic beans are
right, right.
awesome.
And so I got, I'm a downer. I come out and I say, I got to tell you, the secret is there is no secret. I
Yep.
mean, the secret is there is no secret. So, in a nutshell, what my company does, it focuses on finding subconscious blocks that are hidden from person's ability to be even aware that they have them. Once we become aware that we need to shift something, it can take us a while to do it and a desire and discipline, but we will do it if we want to. But if we are unaware that we have something that prevents us from either performance or joy or connection or fulfillment or health, whatever it might be, we simply cannot shift it. And so everything that we offer through products, through services, through our coaches, or through my keynotes is first step is stepping into awareness and then aligning you out of that awareness with where you want to go, and then equipping you with practical action steps. So the formula is from awareness through alignment and action into abundance. And that does not mean only money, abundance of love, well being, relationships, and so forth.
Walk me through, if you gave, I come into your practice, I come into your program, and because I'm going to put this in, we're going to do a practical application, okay, of what you're talking about. I have been in corporate America until my entire life, from my mid 20s. I graduated with my degree. I've climbed the ladder. I'm now sitting here 48 years old. I've gone through the pandemic. I resigned once. I wanted to run my own business. I got scared because there isn't a paycheck with it. And I went back to another corporate job. And now I'm sitting here in the second generation of resignations. And that is really what's going on right now. And I came to you, I said, where's the magic formula? What would be 3 things that you could do that could help me push through the barriers and boundaries within my self-limitation, my own personal fears, building my own brand and business?
So I think we can actually go through it because it's a beautiful opportunity and look at different entry points and tools that could be helpful. On the very first, and to me, as somebody who works with people's energy, I scan the energy for which program caused the fear in the first place. And it's fascinating, Kim, because you are radiant and you're not born to fit in. You're born to stand out, but standing out with it brings the fear of not belonging. And so the first conflict in the subconscious programming is I know how to belong without needing to fit in. So it's a powerful shift. And so through theta healing brainwave, I actually would like to offer to you and for anybody else who feels that we all know how to belong without need to try to fit in. Subtle shift, but huge. And you'll actually feel like there's a relief coming off your shoulders because, in some way, for the first time, the energy is welcome to belong to and through you fully. And that's kind of the depth of shift on that level, on the scanning of energy level, happens in a private group. I have a private subscription group that's called Quantum Freedom, and it's for people that come in for group healings and they say, I'm stuck, find out why. So using the skills and the training I have, we scan the energy and they make that shift. Let's say that particular venue is inaccessible to you, either for financial reasons or for any other reasons. So then I would say we have a phenomenal app that's called Empower Dash Me, little M, big E. In that app, there is a subset that's called My Grief. Through working with over, well, hundreds and thousands of clients for over 2 decades, I found out that there are 90 aspects of grief, 90, 9-0. Grief is a very low energy. Let's say we are grieving over lost opportunity. Regret is a form of grief. So when you've described going through um, being in the corporate world and then pursuing the dream and then the fear of not being able to fund that dream, that lost opportunity, the death of a dream, and if I say it, I have chills going through me because that concept of the death of a dream is something that humanity is grieving. And the resignation energy is just a drive of unprocessed grief. So in the app, and the app is incredibly affordable, it's $20 a year, and it has so much, but you go to that grief. I want to do it for us so we actually have a practical application. And I'm going to open it up to that grief set. And we're going to click on alignment. The app actually, whether you understand the quantum physics or not, scans the energy. And so one of the unprocessed aspects of grief is I feel so emotional. So that's the aspect that came up for us. So somewhere, someone on this podcast right now is feeling super emotional. Or you've been hit by emotion and you've been told it's because you're a woman or it's because you're hormonal. But that is a grief unprocessed. So I want us to close our eyes for 30 seconds, if that, and we're going to process that feeling emotional out. With your eyes closed, imagine currents of emotions through and around you. Watch them flow through without either carrying you, overwhelming you. Simply observe until you see a beautiful, peaceful flow of iridescent energy of peace. Imagine yourself relaxing into this energy and floating on it as if it is a peaceful lake. Affirm with your hand on your heart, I now observe my emotions. I'm inviting and receiving peace. I'm hopeful. I am in me. Period. Very practical, very easy. And that's it.
So it really, and I would absolutely agree that the feeling of not fitting in, folks. I'm telling you, my sister Nicole, I've been blessed with three younger sisters, and my sister Nicole is literally the polar opposite to me. Like you cannot get a more different human being, and yet we're just alike. It is crazy. She is your nice, blonde, blue-eyed, well-educated, devoted mother, community leader in Wichita, Kansas, Midwestern gal, opposite of politics, opposite on religion, like everything's opposite. And yet she says to me, she just doesn't feel that she fits in.
Yeah, gives me chills.
And I'm going to tell you this, folks. This is something at 53 I have slowly learned. And it's been, and I think it's all these, I think it's all the teenage angst movies that prime us women to believe that we need to have a dozen amazing friends that we go to the vineyards together with, and we have all these like aha, moments. The reality is, if you can have one person, and that is yourself, one person, you only need one true friend, and that has to be yourself. So I absolutely, I mean, I personally am on a journey. When you're talking about emotions and women, no crying on stage. So women have a smaller percentage of paid speaking, paid coaching positions. These are facts, folks. These are statistical facts. Women make less in the public forum of coaching and speaking than men, and fewer women make money. These are percentage wise. And part of that is that we are more in tune with our emotions. But you can't cry on stage as a woman, because you cry on stage and all of a sudden they're sitting there going, well, she's still working through it, so why would I trust her? She still has issues, because we associate that emotional relief or release to still being mired in the muck, right? And I know that a lot of women are really struggling around this when it comes to, how do I balance my emotional? I've come out of this controlled space of what to think, when to show up, how to deliver, what I'm delivering, belief in somebody else's brand. This is the big one, folks. Ladies out there, confidence, credibility, and relevancy. You deserve and have earned the right to be confident in you as the brand. You are relevant. Every single woman that listens to this is relevant. We need to hear your voice. We need to have you take your place. And, credibility is as simple as putting yourself out there and getting on other people's podcasts, putting your words into a book. So I worry, and I not worry. I really am high focused in on those women who are over 40 that, there's a tech gap. There's a, we're shifting. And so then, it's easy to put your confidence and I'm going to go sell everything behind somebody else's brand. But when it comes back to your own personal brand, right? Because that's what you touched on that. As soon as we put ourselves out there, we are our own personal brand. And I love how you are talking about going down to what's deep inside, right? We hear lots of great speakers speak on this, like Brene Brown. She talks about releasing the shame so you can identify and you can claim how amazing you are. And that is, honestly, that is literally 50% of moving into your success space in business, is having that allowance for you to feel great, for you to know that you're being of service. So I want to go a little bit more I want to talk a little bit more on your app, because so we go into the one vertical. So if we have that app, is it like, are you able to go into it daily to get that energy, to get that recenter, or tap into it like when you had a setback or a challenge or a fear?
Kim, I loved what you said about you're the brand. It's a matter of fact, in the Prospering, one of the laws I talk about is the law of value, and I actually use those words. You are the brand. You are the value. And so, and I think anything you create, has to be for you first and foremost. And so the reason I say it is that I use this little app. It was created for me. It wasn't
Oh,
created to be sold to millions. It was created to be a cheerleader that you've talked about for the scared part of me, so she remembers to step into the sacred part of me, using my language, right? So that's same concept. And so my two amazing team members and I created the app. We use it multiple times a day for different reasons. It's just a tool. It is not a solution. You are the solution. We are the solution. But it is easier to solve or resolve something when you have tools. And so the app is the tool. One of the things that I was going to add to it is that it has 3-minute meditations. The study on meditation is overwhelming.
yeah.
Everybody, I mean, this is not a point to sell meditation for anybody. We know we should do it. But having worked with very high performers in different markets, or with extremely overwhelmed people who have all the time in the world and zero drive, I found out that 20 minutes to 40 minutes to, if you're into Joe Dispenza, 4 hours starting at 4 in the morning is not optimal. It's just not optimal for all of us. I love Joe, by the way. I love Joe. I honor him. But I'm like, just that idea can depress me. You know, all you need to feel better is to meditate for 4 hours. Crap,
Yeah.
now I feel horrible. So,
Somebody would
yeah,
have to cage all the squirrels for me to even get through 30 minutes.
I mean, so really, that app was, I said, wait a minute, when I need help to refocus and recenter and be guided. So we've created these 3-minute meditations. One of them, I don't know why it's coming through, is one of the subconscious programs for all of us is, if no news is good news. We all say it, doesn't matter. Different language, I speak 5 of them, okay? Different languages, different
Wow.
countries. We all go like, no news, good news. What happens to your mind? It says, oh, no news, good news means good news, no news, means all news is bad news. And we are, as common consciousness, are trained to be expecting bad news. So one of the little 3-minute reprogramming of your brain, it's huge. It's meditation that prepares you for good news. You meditate for 3 minutes, and all of a sudden, you either got unexpected check or a call from a loved one, and you go like, wait a minute, good news is coming into my life. So once again, now that you're aware, but until you were, until we all are, we are just being tossed around. So to answer the question is, you use the app as your guided. You have an inner guidance. For some of us, it might be once a week. For some of us, it might be 5 times a day, because it has so many different ways to empower us to remember we are the value. I loved that, Kim. I really did. I just need to validate that because it's such a deep point.
Absolutely. You're here. Everybody's here for a reason. Everybody is here for a reason. Um, and if you just have to get through today, you haven't figured out your reason yet, just get through today to love yourself a little bit more, because the reason will present itself. If you
I
see
love it.
value in yourself and you gain confidence in yourself, the reason will present itself. And there's a high likelihood the reason will be pretty uncomfortable and really scary, um, but that just means you've got even something bigger, a legacy that's larger to leave behind. So let's move into, I really want to talk about why you do all this, right? We've talked about what you've done. And with the real estate as a background, right? And homeschooling your kids. Like, I love the fact that you were in real estate. I did real estate for 20 years. I was a top 1%. I've won awards at all of the companies. I'm very selective on the agents I work with, right? Because I work within social responsibility, community leadership. All of my agents I work with volunteer. So do not even talk to me about how did you make $1 million if you aren't willing to step within your community of where you're making money. So I'm hardcore on that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But so when I think real estate, right? Because we
Mhm.
see all these TV shows and everything is very, it's very financially driven. It's not community driven. It's not holistically driven. How does that? How does that career move over into where you're at now? Tell me a little bit about why you're where you're at, and maybe a bit on that transition.
Um, my slogan, I guess, in real estate was we sell more because we serve more. And they
Oh,
weren't nice words.
that's
They were what I lived by until
those are
this day.
nice.
Until this day. And that was the one question I got to answer over and over and over again. How can I serve this person better? I would drive myself with relentless resilience. How can I serve him better? How can I serve him better? People are afraid of the phrase, I'm not good enough. And for mindset, it's a poisonous phrase because for mindset, we want to remember we are good enough to be who we are. But for skill set, man, you got to know when you're not good enough and not confuse it. Your ego and your soul need to know the difference between I'm not good enough. I've done this for 20 years. I'm not good enough. Tomorrow I'm going to be better. And the day after that, I'm going to be better. You know why? Because I'm going to learn how to serve better. The law of service continually increases it. And so what happened, the transition was, um, you know, my biggest sale, my biggest transaction brought no income, but life in it changed my trajectory. I was called to help this couple that was going through divorce to sell their home. And as I came in for the consultation, as I sat there, every fiber of my being knew they're not meant to get a divorce. Now, I'm not anti divorce. I am pro what's right for every individual, you know? And I'm sitting there and they're talking about their house. And out of my mouth, I hear, hey guys, have you considered doing like counseling for couples? They're like, what are you talking about? And I said, I know it's weird. This is weird, but I intuitively feel the energy of people, of relationships, and you were created for each other. And all of a sudden, they go into the reason for divorce and infidelity and the tragedy. And I help them through, and I say, look, we will sell the house. I sell them cupcakes. It'll be gone in a week if we have to. How about we postpone it by 2 months? And within those 2 months, I'll be the one person. I'll be just the one person. And within those 2 months, so many miracles have happened. And then they referred me, not as a realtor, but as the relationship coach.
And then it was born. Then it
And
was
then they
born.
and they actually said the price point when they referred me. They said, we told them you charge this much. I'm like, I don't. I did this for free for you. They're like, yeah, 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 you're now charging. I mean, and I received such phenomenal joy of helping people see
No,
hidden possibility and turn it into practical opportunity. And that's it. That's how that transition happened. And there are a lot of parallel stories and a lot of parallel reasons, and they're all true. But for the purpose of this discussion, this was a huge contributor as to how that shifted out of one into the other.
pay attention to the signs. Absolutely. I 110% agree. And another conversation for another day. I would love to share with you, Victoria, one of the signs that changed my entire trajectory over the last few years. So, but that's another conversation. I want to keep moving forward. I want to, because we know that here on this podcast that we explore resiliency. And I do ask the hard question to share a time of resiliency in your life that without that moment, you would not be having this conversation. And what this is for is to give a sense of I'm not alone to somebody out there who's listening to this. Are you open to sharing?
I have so many of those moments that I'm hectically trying to grab the one that is most aligned. And it's not the first moment of resiliency, and I know it's not the last one, but it's the one that comes to mind right now. And this is 2013, and we'll build up through the year. 2013 February, I get a phone call that my Aunt Luda dies completely unexpected in Moldova. My mom and I fly out. Very tragic event. We'll live through that. To make a long year short, in the next 11 months, I lose 12 people that are either family members or friends. So much so that pretty much once a month, my cousin drowns that I grew up with as a brother. And with every death, I lose a reason for being alive. I'm deflated more and more and more and more. The survivor grief, the guilt of the survival, and all of these things, the questions, my faith is shattered until that one moment of when I'm sitting. And that's why this is why meditation is so important to me. I'm sitting and I'm saying, wait a minute. If I don't find a way out here to be on this plane, to be alive, I I will probably go out. I will go out, And so, and I'm sitting and closing my eyes to meditate, just composing my thoughts, just taking breaths, and all of a sudden I'm shown this beautiful stream of water. And under that water, they're just clear rocks, and I'm have no idea why I have this perception. And then I understand that for a fraction of a second, I'm experiencing the last seconds of my cousin's life. And then I feel this phenomenal amount of light lifting me. Until the day I die, and probably beyond that, nobody will take that away, or the knowing that out of our darkest moments comes the surge of light. We're so afraid to go deep into the darkness that we never connect to it. So my recipe for me, for the moments of resilience, don't run away from fear. Don't run away from heaviness. Go so deep into it and keep going until you hit the light, because you will. And that's been over and over and over in my life. When circumstances out of my control brought me to that point of sheer fear, and I sit in it. I sit in it and I say, show me more. Take me deeper. Take me deeper. And then what? I will lose all my money. Fine. And then what? I will be on the street. Fine. And then what? You'll be homeless. You'll lose. Fine. And then what? And then you'll remember who you are, and you'll walk to your first shelter, and you will get fed, and you will get cleaned, and you will start looking for a job. The only way through fear is go deep into its darkness and find the light. That's been a recipe for me, and I stand by it.
Darkest before the dawn. We have quotes on this all the time.
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill even wrote about the 3 feet from gold, about a guy who worked and worked and worked and worked to find the gold, and he gave up, and he gave up, and the next man came in, and immediately, just another 3 feet, he struck gold. And this is off of real stories and real information. This is not, it is a what is it? It's a absolute fact of, not geology, what's the word I'm looking for when we look at our skies and such? Not astronomy, but basically it is a fact that it is darkest. The darkest hour of the night is just before the dawn.
Yeah.
As somebody, and most people don't know this about me, I have real challenges with depression. I came through serious trauma, court documented trauma, intervention through the DA's office as a child. And everybody sees the excitement in me because I did try suicide several times in my youth. And that darkest moment brought the light of our counselor and of our service and gave us a voice. So I'm not saying, I'm not advocating trans. Please don't. Nobody out there. There are so many services. And right now I know is a hard time for a lot of people. There's a lot of negativity in the world. But, there is people out there, and there are apps, there are communities to lean into. I believe that every person who chooses to lead and build a business and build a community and serve a community. Just, my slogan in real estate was, I had this whole thing around Kim's Kitchen and recipes. And why Kim's Kitchen? Because the kitchen's the heart of the homes. And I sell homes, not just houses.
Oh, I
So
love it.
that
Yeah.
was my whole shtick. So I'd love for you to share we met through, just so everybody knows, I had the honor and pleasure of Victoria introducing herself to me through a media Meet the Press, and when she launched her book. And it's taken us, 4 months to connect, but I do want to mention the book because I always, I collect stories of resilience. I want to know what to read, and we're going to get to your quote. But do take us a bit through the book and what people can expect within the book.
The book introduces you to the concept of little m big E, or when I say me, when I think I am me, when the app says I am me, it's little m big E, because that is going back to Kim's gorgeous recipe. It's a recipe of who each one of us is, right? We are mortal matter that materially manifests through eternal essence and energy expanding through us. That's who we are. When I say I am me, I remember there is a little m of mortality and a big E of eternity in me. There is matter and there is energy. There's material and essential, and there's manifesting and expansive. So the book takes the concept of who we are and introduces 35 universal spiritual principles and laws of this eternal essence of who we are, and then how to practically apply them to prosper in every area of our life. Because prosperity is not just money. I have seen a lot of broke people spiritually with a lot of zeros after their name. That is not true prosperity, right? So we want to prosper through being able to enjoy life to its fullest in all areas of our life. That's the purpose for the book. And I take every law that I have learned from, that I have practiced in my life, that has brought genuine prosperity in my life, and then I share it with 3 action steps that you can take, and with the activation, which is the affirmation that is charged with the energy to help your subconscious shift into that state. That's, in a nutshell, is the book.
That sounds like a type of read or listen. Do you have it on Audible yet?
It's coming out. I had so many people ask for
I am
it.
so excited. When it comes out on Audible, will you please let us know, and I will let
Sure.
everybody know, because
Well,
that is where I love Audible. I love road trips and books.
yeah.
And and the reason I love road trips is I love people. If I could force Gump my way around the world and just sit on park benches and meet amazing human beings, because almost every human being I have met has an amazingness with them. Um, so Victoria, we talked quickly about the app. So can you give us the where we can find the app?
Yeah, depending on your provider, either Apple Store or Google Play, it's available in both. Um, enjoy it, feel empowered. We've got a lot of copycats. It's a sign of popularity, right? So make sure you actually get them all. I'm not here to say don't get some other apps, but empower dash me. And of course, the signature is little m big E as a reminder of who you are truly empowering, which is that essential energy through you.
And where else can people uh, join in with you? Is there a Facebook or an Instagram or LinkedIn? How can people become part of your world?
I think the easiest thing to do is go to our site, which is you2shine.com. Um, I have an amazing, I don't talk about it often, Kim, so thank you for asking about Facebook. I have a group that's called Tree of Life with You to Shine, where I do a free daily activation. They're humorous. I make people laugh often because when we laugh, our brain slows down to theta brainwave, and then we allow for the depth of the teaching come through. So if you enjoy affirmations, that might be a good place to go to.
And a positive and a negative thought cannot occupy your psyche at the same time.
Mm.
So you choose what you want,
And
right?
I thought of something, Kim, in the spectrum of our conversation is we have an amazing free quiz. It's called What's Your Money Healing Mode? And it's moneyquiz.me for little M big E, of course. I'm big on that, a little obsessed. So
Money.
moneyquiz.me.
MoneyQuest.
MoneyQuest.me.
Okay,
And so
okay.
when you go there, when you take the quiz, it'll show you what is your dominant emotion that you are being healed and made whole through. And it gives you 3 laws and practices to practically apply it, right? Because we are driven by, we talked about emotion, which is energy in motion. And so that's the quiz. I would say that's a beautiful place to start your journey of empowerment that is free.
And that is something that the a well done quiz can really bring a lot of enlightenment. I'm not talking about Team Beat, folks. Team Beat quiz is. Do you remember the quizzes? Are you a good date or not? But the true thought leaders out there are doing really incredible work to really align, and the quiz is actually taking pieces, layers upon layers upon layers upon layers, and I'm guessing there's 16, 20 different outcomes that they can really put these together. I've just have been studying the psychology of quizzes and the building of them.
Mhm.
Fascinating, and I think that's really cool. I'm going to actually go and do that. I want everybody to do that with me. Is that moneyquiz.me? That and that's what it is, moneyquiz.me.
MoneyQuiz.me. Very easy.
Okay,
MoneyQuiz.me.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to clarify, your website is YU number 2 SHINE.com. Just in case those of you who are listening, you're going, YOU, why is this not coming up? So we want to make sure that people can find you, because I believe that you have a real affinity to helping people. I can feel it coming through. Today was an amazing day. This was an amazing 42 minutes of my life, and I appreciate you sharing your time with me, Victoria. Can you share with us a quote?
Yes.
This is what I love. Is I love collecting quotes.
Is that quite all right that the quote got changed halfway through just for us?
All
the,
right.
the quote that came through for me and through me for us is that the resilience is the bridge from resistance to empowerment.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
That's
t-shirt worthy.
that's that is energetically the summary of our conversation. And so instead of spitting out my regular prep quote, that just felt very strongly that that's the message of this conversation.
That is beautiful. That truly is
Mm.
beautiful, and that does fit completely. Um, yes. We're going to actually have that printed out, and I'm gonna do something fun with that. I'm not sure what yet, folks. It's something you'll be able to find that in my store, maybe a little free something, but there'll be something, and that's gonna be courtesy of Victoria. Uh, I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you for having me, Kay. What a sacred space you've created, and what a journey. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
It is my pleasure and honor, truly. All right, folks, that's it for today. You know what? It's a long weekend. Love those around you. Love your time within. Take time for yourself. Do some 3-minute meditation. Come in. There are so many opportunities and ways for you to have the life you deserve. You deserve. So, if you feel that your resiliency is lagging at any time, be sure that you listen and lean into our resilient community. You can always go to resilientgift.com and sign up, and you'll get our monthly magazine. I'm not going to hound you with like a gazillion emails a day. That's just not my shtick. But I do want to give you our monthly magazine. I do want to invite you when we do our virtual events. I want to let you know who's coming up next, so you can be sure to check your calendar so you can be first in on these conversations. And remember, resiliency is not allowing your past to define your future. And I promise you are worth everything. You are an amazing person. And until next time, I'm your host, Kim Hayden. I'm honored that you spent your time with me. Bye for now.